Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. And before we proceed for the lecture, first of all, tell me if the audio and video is clear to you or not. Let me just verify that because yesterday we had a glitch about that. So we first confirm that. Let me just get the clarity on that. The audio and video is clear. Okay. So the video or the audio is clear with everyone. Okay, so let's start today's wonderful session of Daily Decodes at Insights IAS. So let's start with the discussion. And today is 29th November. It's right now around 10 a.m. So good morning to everyone. Before we start the lecture, let's go for the thought for the day. And today we are taking thought for the day from a legend, genius, entrepreneur, and he has been able to achieve a lot of things in his life. He's no more, but his legacy still lives. So he said, sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. So it basically means that sometimes we will not be able to achieve the things. Sometimes there might be failures in our life. Sometimes there might be hiccups in our life. That does not mean that we give up on our goal, we give up on our intended goal, we give up on our dreams, we give up on what we finally want to achieve. So these are certain hiccups which comes in life. It comes with everyone. Even if you see and go and read about what happens in Ramayana, what happens in Mahabharata, or the ancient text or the ancient stories, or for that even the medieval realities or ancient realities, or even in today's modern era, if you see successful people, they have all gone through struggle. For example, even Virat Kohli had a bad patch, Mahendra Singh Dhoni had a bad patch. Everyone struggles, okay? So it is important that whenever struggle comes to you, you don't give up, you continuously fight, and the victory shall be yours. So with this positive thought, let's move to today's important lecture, that is in Busan, India says it will not back use of plastic alternatives. UPSC prelims impact global plastic treaty. National Seed Congress, this is the 13th National Seed Congress. The agricultural minister was here. Farmers must get high quality seeds. Making sense of Israel-Hezbollah ceasefire. What did it take that Prime Minister Netanyahu agreed for the ceasefire? There are three important conditions. On the basis of this, he decided it, and if these three conditions are fulfilled, only then he would be majorly going through the ceasefire, though the ceasefire has started. It's for 2 months, but there are major objectives which would be defining specifically what happens in West Asia in coming 2 to 6 months. Then editorial, targeting minorities on the state of the Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, if you see, a Hindu monk has been harassed, he has been put in jail because he was talking about his minority rights, and things are actually not good in Bangladesh. When Muhammad Yunus came, he became the advisor. He said, this is the new Bangladesh, this is Bangladesh 2.0, things will change, an election system will come, be from minority to majority, everyone would be heard. But what we are seeing is that minority Hindu community is specifically being targeted in Bangladesh like anything. So we would understand what is going on, and for that matter, what steps India can take. So let's move to first news, that in Busan, India says it will not back use of plastic alternatives. If you see, good morning everyone, good morning. Okay. So Purnima, Bulbul Gupta, Gibson Joshi, everyone, good morning. And whoever is joined the session, please first of all just like the session, because once you like the session, everybody gets to know. So like the session, share the session, and most importantly, press the bell icon. And I would also want to know, one of the recommendations that we are also planning to come with, smaller videos. Like this is a big video, a smaller video of 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or like a short or a reel to explain you important concepts that we are planning. It would be starting somewhere in the coming months. So do share your suggestions. What do you think about it? So coming back to Busan, so what is happening is that if you see the month of November is like an environment, environment month. First you had Baku, Azerbaijan, COP29 happened, then there was a talk on marine biodiversity, and then we are talking about global plastic treaty. But in all of this, the major problem is that if you go into deep of this, developed countries are trying to dominate the developing countries, and now developing countries will not be straight away taking the dominance of the developed world. Same would be happening out here, even in the global plastic treaty, which is the intention of this, which is happening in Busan. Busan is in South Korea. Okay, this is in South Korea. We will also see the map location, because map locations are very important from prelims point of view, MCQ point of view, or basically MCQ format questions. These locations are very important. Or if you are writing a mains answer and you have to draw, so if you know the location, it always substantiates your answer. That is why in UPSC mains answer writing, it is very important that you draw diagrams wherever it is necessary. Diagrams are necessary, and mapping is very necessary wherever it is required. Specifically, when you get a 150 words question, 10 marker question, but the question is big in the sense it requires a 250 words information, but you need to write in 150 words, that in around 7.5, 8.5 minutes, 8 to 9, somewhere between this. Then what you need to do is that you need to draw diagrams, so that your diagram conveys the information which you wanted in 250 words, because right now in 150 words you need to reduce the number of words have to be reduced. So in this, diagrams and mapping always helps. So coming back to this, there are multiple meetings which are happening on environment, but none of them are successful, and I don't think so even this would be successful. This is the 5th iteration and the final iteration which is happening for the plastic treaty, and I don't think so anything would be coming. Even the article will be saying the same thing. Even what happened in Baku, which was COP29, the demand was $1.3 trillion per year. We got $300 billion. When is this fund coming? Where is it coming? And $300 is a very paltry sum. It is very, it is very peanut sum. When it might look very good, $300 billion, but please understand this money would be divided between least developing countries, and then the total amount which will come would be very, very less. Okay, so moving further into this. So this is the location of Busan. If you can see, this is the location. Okay, this is Busan. Okay, it is in South Korea. So if a mapping question comes, you need to be aware about this. Okay. Now, the global plastic treaties, let us complete the UPSC fact regarding it, and then we go towards the news. So, global plastic treaty, it was around 2022 that the decision was taken that the global plastic treaty should come. So, it's an ambitious initiative involving 175 United Nations members aimed at eliminating plastic. That plastic should be eliminated now. First reduced, then eventually eliminated, because it's non-biodegradable, and the plastic, from marine pollution to different kind of pollution, plastic increases a lot of pollution, and it would not be good for human life as well as whatever kind of from marine to other lives which are existing on Mother Earth. So objective is by the end of 2024, that means by the end of this year, we need to come with a global treaty. Okay, is to create a legal document. Why legal document? Then it would be binding on everyone. Right, it would be binding on everyone, similar to like what we have done in climate change, that we have come that this is the type of degree of temperature, 1.5 degree, all those industrial levels which we talk about. Similarly, in this is the same thing which we talk about, that there has to be a legal binding treaty regarding the plastic pollution. Deadlines for countries to decrease plastic production. Plastic production has to be decreased. Cut out unnecessary uses where plastic is unnecessary being used, eliminated. Prohibit specific chemicals, those chemicals which are used in plastic industry or which are very harmful to human life and other life, it has to be negated. And set recycling goals. Now, recycling goals required huge machinery and huge amount of cost is required. Now, developed countries already have this kind of fund, machinery and technology, but developing countries do not have it, and they eventually ask developed countries, please help us, please give us money, or please give us technology. And the same debate again start, like we are going back to COP29. Developing countries, like-minded countries, least developing countries, they keep asking fund from developed countries that you were the first inhibitor first polluter of the through the industrial revolution which happened, and that is how the greenhouse gases emerged and the entire pollution happened. And obviously developing countries also chipped in later when development starts. So similarly here also they talk about that you have developed, you were the first people from which this entire greenhouse gases commit. Similarly for plastic pollution also, because development happened first at your stage, so you need to help us with money, with technology. And again, the same thing, developed world is not, they will talk about it, but they will never be ready to give you technology or money. That is the same thing we see in COP29 also. Similar would be the fate of this. So United Nations Environment Assembly, that is UNEA, it passed a resolution end plastic pollution in 2022, and then 2024, that is this year, they want that by this 5th meeting which is happening in Busan, South Korea, that a final treaty can come up. So currently representatives over 170 countries have gathered in Busan, South Korea for the 5th and final round of the iteration of negotiation of a legally binding global treaty to end plastic pollution, including marine pollution. That is why we were talking about marine pollution also. So I think 1 or 2 days back we were covering marine pollution also. So marine pollution, plastic pollution, this is the 5th round, and 2024 we are talking about a legal binding treaty or a legal treaty specifically for your plastic pollution, global plastic treaty. Okay. Okay. So with this, let's start with the news now. We have gone through the static part. So India's start on global plastic talks treaty, a complex negotiation. India is saying that India has adopted a complex solution at the United Nations led global plastic treaty negotiation which are going in South Korea. So India is saying that, despite we banned the single plastic usage in 2022, India expressed resistance to international pressure about specific plastic alternatives, because what developed world is talking about, that these plastic alternatives can be used. First of all, the cost of those plastic alternatives is very high. Second, in many parts of the country it is not available. Third, when you start using the alternatives, lot of industry which are dependent on XYZ kind of plastics, they would be hit, and the job opportunities, job sector economically, and the opportunities to work, that would be gone. And that is what the Indian government and many other countries are talking about, which includes not only India, it includes US and many other countries, that we straight away cannot go for this removal of plastic. It's very difficult because many industry are dependent on plastic, or polymers of plastic, or different things which are related to plastic chemicals. So citing concerns about autonomy and fairness in global agreement. Now autonomy and fairness in global agreement is the same thing which we had covered in COP29 also. Marine biodiversity also we had covered in editorial, I had covered for you. In marine biodiversity is a problem that when it comes to marine genomics, or the things which will come out of marine biodiversity, which we were talking about, high seas and equal distribution of the resources, developed world would not be ready to do so. So similar problems are there. Only first we were talking about COP29, then marine diversity, now plastic pollution. So India's position on plastic alternatives, India is talking about encouraging innovation. India advocates for more research and innovation and development of sustainable and non-plastic alternatives, but does not endorse the mandate that you have to use this alternative. So India is ready that, we will put money in research and development, we will do research and development, but you, as from the treaty cannot push us that you have to use this only. Whereas currently we are not capable, currently our resources are limited, and thereby we can't use it. Pushback for specific recommendation, India resisted the chair of INC 5, that is Intergovernmental Negotiation Committee. Why 5? Because this is the 5th round. This is the top body which is working on the global plastic treaty. Suggestion to reduce use of primary plastic polymers and associated chemicals of concerns, emphasizing the need for national flexibility. Now this particular treaty or this INC 5 is talking about that reduce the use of primary plastic polymers, associated chemicals of concern. Now India is saying that how can you take one solution and implement on all? Every country is going through a very different development phase. So in our country we might be using these chemicals, polymers might be important, or XYZ kind of plastic is important for us because industry is dependent. So you cannot just say from today it would be implemented and these entire plastic industry should be closed, because lot of our population, lot of our population is dependent on these kind of jobs, and it will take a lot of time so that alternatives can come and we can push it. So concerns for autonomy, India opposes being pushed into adopting specific products or technologies without evaluating national priorities and development goals. And I think India is 500% right. Every country has its own need, and currently we are in a development phase. face, and India also needs its autonomy, that what kind of plastic to be used, what kind of plastics to be banned, what plastic is very important for us that we need to continue it for 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, and then we will ban it. So it will depend what are the goals of India, what economically we are standing, how much population is dependent on that particular plastic, and then we will go as per our own goals. So it should be national defined goals rather than making a goal and saying this is the goal, this is how you need to reduce plastic, these are the 5 alternatives of jute, etc. Then use it. Now either you need to buy that alternatives, or either you have those alternatives to plastic in your country. Say if you don't have, then you need to buy or import, then you need to spend a lot of money, and people and the things which you are alternatively changing. For example, XYZ plastic was being alternatively changed. So people who are working in this plastic industry, they will lose their jobs. And once they lose their jobs, then the unemployment crisis will start. So exactly that is India is talking about. National priorities and development goals of every country is different, and specifically in India's concern is that we need to see our goals, our policies, what we want, what we need to do, and then we'll decide that how can we go for this treaty. Parikshit, good morning. Good morning. I hope you are doing good. Good morning. Okay. So key challenges in addressing plastic pollution, ambiguity in plastic alternatives is there. Widespread adoption of biodegradable and compostable plastic in India is hindered by, first of all, the problem is uncertainty about their actual degradability. So India is talking, when you're talking about this compostable plastic or biodegradable, is it actually degradable or not? Only time will tell. Limited composting of infrastructure. Now composting infrastructure requires huge amount of capital and money investment. Who is giving this money? It is very easy to put the goals. Developed world might have already made the technology, or they might have the infrastructure. Currently we don't have that kind of money or infrastructure, so huge amount of investment would be needed. Cost and availability of alternatives like jute, cotton, synthetic material remains significantly obstacles, and then you need to, if you don't have it, then you need to obtain it or do imports of it, then the billing of your imports would also go high. So plastic waste management in India, what has India been able to achieve in some numbers? 24 million tons of plastic packaging have been introduced into India since 2022. Only 9.8 million tons can be mechanically recycled. So again, if you see recycling, when I started the lecture, I told you recycling infrastructure takes a huge amount of time. I'll give you some example. For example, if you go to Delhi NCR and once you are going toward Indrapuram in Ghaziabad, there are mountains of garbage. There are 1 to 2 important mountains of garbage. They are still not been, removed. The governments have been working for years, and it will take years to remove them. So the Delhi government is working and it blames the UP government, and it keeps on going. So these kind of garbage mountains, around 4 to 5 garbage mountains are Delhi surrounded by them. And I don't know how much time it will take, because at least for the last 10 years I am seeing that they are standing, and only some part of it might have reduced. But again, if the Delhi government is not able to do, or from the support of central government, this is, you are talking about national goals in terms of recycling, composting infrastructure. Again, a lot of effort, money, infrastructure is required. And specifically, consumer use plastic waste is poorly managed. A mere 20% of consumer plastic waste is collected, reflecting systematic challenges. So these are the numbers from where we stand, what we have been able to achieve. And mostly, if you see, our achievements are very less. We need to work very hard. So again, money has to be spent on this. Investment has to be going in towards this. So is the developed world giving this money to us? No, they are not giving. This is the main pointers of India in the meeting, that we need to work upon it. We need time. So respect for multilateral agreement, India highlighted importance of harmonizing plastic treaty with other international agreements as well. Developing countries, right, same thing, that India is talking, every developing country or which does not have this kind of technology, does not have this kind of money, there can be national goals. There can be goals, okay, as per the country's requirement in 5, 10, 15, 20 years or coming decades, for their national priorities and capability, that we have this composting infrastructure, in the coming 5, 10 years we can develop this, our recycling infrastructure can be developed like this, and on the basis of that goals they can define their national plan. So financial and technical support, India called for assistance with the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities. Now this is being taken from climate change. Common. So common goal in climate change is that we all need to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. But common but differentiated. Why differentiated? Because developed world was the first one which polluted the mother earth, which polluted the environment. So their contribution should be higher. Same principle being applied out here, that it is right that we need to reduce plastic pollution. But at the same time, this majorly again started by the developed world. Major development happened out there. They have better technology, they have better money. So similarly, they need to help us. Okay, so draft include 32 articles addressing plastic waste and production. Again, this is a draft. Let's see if the treaty comes out or not. Every sentence is contested. It is contested between various countries, India and many other countries. If you see nations like India, China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, and the developed country, Americans, US, are hesitant to curtail plastic production, citing economic importance. They keep on saying that certain kind of plastic is important because people are dependent on their wages and jobs and opportunities, and even if you want to create alternatives, it will take decades. So that is why we need to have some individual national plan. So the stoppage of plastic production could disrupt petrochemical industries, and thousands of people are dependent, thousands or lakhs of people are dependent on petrochemical industries, and their livelihood, their jobs, their wages, their houses, everything would be destroyed if you stop it. So rather than abruptly stopping them, it is better that you give every nation can have better alternatives. They can make their plans, and then over a period of time they can come to a goal. So broader context and future path is that many nations, including that focusing solely on plastic management, shouldn't be the goal, but rather, this is a wonderful point, which India brought out in this meeting, is that rather than just focusing on plastic management, plastic has come, how to manage plastic, recycling, composting, which requires a huge amount of money. Why shouldn't we focus on the root cause of problem? And what is the root cause of problem? Root cause of the problem is plastic production. We need to stop the plastic production, because if the plastic production itself stops, then the amount of money which needs to be spent on plastic management will definitely, ipso facto reduce or get stopped. So the root cause is plastic production, and that is what India is talking about. We need to focus. A streamlined consensus document is required where everyone, inclusively come from developed to developing countries to least developing countries. They come and have a common consensus on it. Once ratified, it will be established legally binding framework for regular action similar to climate change, which we had covered. So in conclusion, India's stand reflect balancing between promoting environment sustainability and safeguarding its economic goals also. And India is not only talking about itself, it is talking about other countries, that similar developing countries. We need to see what we need to achieve in the 5-10 years in terms of plastic pollution, and what goals we can have for recycling, or a recycling machine, composture machines, and all those machines. And focus should shift from plastic management to plastic production. We need to stop plastic production, because if plastic production stops, obviously it will have a ripple effect on the second one. India's opposition to mandatory use of alternatives, we are against it, because every country's growth is different, and whatever alternatives you're talking about, jute, cotton, these alternatives have a cost. One country might have it, might not have it. If they don't have it, then you need to import. People who are dependent on the petrochemical or plastic industry, they will lose jobs. How will you generate other employment opportunities? So this is the major contention of India when it comes to this global plastic treaty. Specifically, these are the complexities of achieving globally binding plastic treaty. So with this, we cover this news. So the main question is, India's stance at global plastic treaty negotiation reflects the challenges of balancing environment sustainability with development priorities. So it's a wonderful question. And if you see in this month, multiple news related to environment from Baku, Azerbaijan, then the marine biodiversity, we had covered this, we had also covered, I think, 2-3 days back in Daily Decodes. And I will propel you, I will ask you that don't leave your Daily Decodes. If you complete your Daily Decodes, your 70 to 80% of the newspaper is done. And most importantly, you understand what are the nuances of a news, how news is important, how it can be asked in a MCQ format, in a mains question, and what kind of thought process as a neutral aspirant you need to have. So again, don't lose, don't give up, that I will watch it tomorrow because if you don't watch it for 2-3 days, then 2 to 3 hours pile up. So please keep watching it. Okay. So next important news coming from agriculture. November has been a news of environment. Agriculture, it feels farmers must get high quality seeds, fertilizers. So very important statement coming from Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who was the former Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh multiple times. Now he's in the cabinet. So Union Agriculture Minister says there can be no greater service to agriculture than providing good seeds to farmer, and I agree, not 100% but 1000%. When you say that we need to double the farmer's income from multiple opportunities, but the one basic facet which is required is that you give the farmers the most important thing, good seeds. That is the the root thing which needs to be done. So, 13th National Seed Congress was held in Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. It serves as a platform for policy makers were there, scientists were there, academicians were there, which were talking about transformative strategies in the agricultural sector. So the government has again and again spoken about doubling the farmers' income, doubling the farmers' income. Farmer bills were brought in the past, but unfortunately or fortunately, whatever side you stand, they were taken back, and which were basically these three farmers bill intent was that how they can help in doubling the farmers income, but many farmers did not agree with it and they were eventually withdrawn. Now government is also talking about other alternative opportunities for agriculture for farmers, but on that ground only, this is also a very important thing, transformative strategies in agricultural sector. How can you double the farmers income? But again, for doubling the farmers income, one basic thing is that start giving them good seeds. So key themes included improving seed quality, addressing climate challenge and food security, fostering public-private collaboration for sustainable agricultural growth, not only for our generation but for coming generation. Union Agriculture Minister emphasized high quality seeds are lifeblood of farming. This is a very important statement. So if it is a high quality seeds are lifeblood of farming. So a statement can come, a question can come. High quality seeds are lifeblood of farming. Elucidate, explain, because this is an important statement coming from the from a government minister and ipso facto then coming from the Indian government. So it can come as a mains question and then you need to expand. So government aims to boost crop production by 20% through better seed distribution and timely availability at reasonable price. One major problem which is also coming is of licenses, and that is why private sector is saying that when that advocate for a uniform licensing policy, they are talking about something called one nation, one license. There shouldn't be that every state or everywhere there are multiple licenses. You need to take multiple licenses. Private companies have to go to different state, different licenses, and because of this, red tapeism is there, bureaucracy is there, sometimes corruption is there. They're talking about give us one license which would make our lives easy and even the farmers' life easy. So they are talking about release if this licensing policy change and we get one nation, one license which is applicable everywhere, we can expedite the release of hybrid seeds and innovation. Otherwise, a lot of our time is just going in getting these licenses. Now, delays in state and central approvals prolong farmers' access to advanced technologies. So, private companies say that we are ready to give technologies, but by the time we get these approvals from center, state, or if red tapeism or corruption is there, it takes 2 years, 3 years, and we are not able to give this technology, because what we lose in 3 years, then we need to work in the next 3 years. And similarly, 5 to 6 years go before we can give good quality seeds, technology, which is needed by the farmer. So this is a very, just request by the private companies. Okay, and the government has also told that a strict action will be taken against suppliers of low quality seeds and fertilizer. If a private company or anyone which is supplying low quality seeds, strict action would be taken. Private companies have also come up with their point that that rather than multiple licenses, just have one nation, one license. That would be a wonderful thing. It would be, if it can be done, it will it will put the process in a fast track in terms of good seeds also, hybrid seeds also, good technology also. Next is Geospatial Technology Initiative. So one thing which was released by the IRI was that Rice Fallow web page and Atlas. So what is a fallow land? Fallow land is land that is not cultivated, grazed for a period of time. So it would be analyzing, mapping and analyzing these fallow lands specifically in Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and West Bengal, so that on the eastern belt the food security can be achieved. Tool aids crop planning and intensification and would be used for food security in Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and West Bengal. In East India, it should be increased. West more or less has a good security, food security, and even in the middle of the country, private sector contributions. So private sector contributions are even more than the government sector contribution. So private firms invest 10% of their income in R&D, surpassing government research facilities. Investment in terms of research and development. As we move forward in this lecture, we will also get to know that government focus on research and development is very less. They are not spending money. Rather, they are spending more money in running for that administration. The cost of administration is much more high than the research and development. So if you are not doing research and development, if you are not working on these genetically modified seeds, if you're not working on that, if you're not working on research and development of better seeds, how would you help the farmer? Most of the money is just going on that administrative part, which might not be very useful for farmers' side. So better policies to support GM crops and hybrid seeds. Particularly, there's a pest called pink bollworm which affects cotton crops. So this was a lot in the news, I think around 1 or 2 years back. It used to come again and again. So from a prelims perspective, MCQ perspective, pink bollworm is related to cotton. So pink bollworm related to cotton crops. Okay, so policy recommendation roadmap need to establish at least 200 seed parks. Okay, 200 seed parks. What are seed parks? Obviously, where the seeds would be grown, better quality seeds, and increasing oil seed and millet cultivation. Now, 2023 year was also celebrated as the year of millet in India to bolster state leadership in agriculture. State leadership. This was said by UP Agricultural Minister. So, since the meeting was happening in Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh only. So there is a need of regional cooperation and partnership to address climate change and food security. Obviously, when multiple agencies will come together, the private sector will come, government sector will come, academicians will come, policymakers will come, then only you will get good products. Like we were discussing about that the drone yesterday from IIT Kanpur. So IIT Kanpur, the forces and the research makers, academicians, industrialists, when they come together, then only you get good defense products. Same is the case out here also. So government seeks to preserve 3,000 traditional rice varieties, crucial for biodiversity. Apart from this, as we are working on biodiversity, as we are working on agriculture, similarly to reduce, digressing a bit, similar kind of approach is also needed to control the pollution which happens in North India. Why I am saying this? Because every year that the pollution in North is happening again and again. So researchers, academicians, state and central government, whatever differences the state and central government have in Delhi, they need to overcome and resolve this problem, because if they are not resolving it, everyone is suffering. Okay, everyone is suffering. So in that context, like we see in agriculture, these meetings happening, people coming together, industry coming together, government coming together, researchers coming together, same approach is needed out in the North India pollution also. So efforts to enhance oilseed production could reduce reliance on imports. Now we are doing a lot of imports, specifically from countries like US and Brazil, which use genetically modified seeds. But we are not putting research and development. The government institutes or government institutions are not putting any money in research and development. Their focus is only managing those administrative institutes. The institute's focus should be on these genetically modified seeds, better technology, not just managing the institution or the administrative purposes. That will not fetch the goals. Otherwise, you will keep importing from US and Brazil and you will keep paying for imports. Okay, so challenges. Current policies restrict testing and deployment of innovative solution. Why? Because you need to spend money on R&D. Government research institutes, they are not spending money. Their focus is administrative expenses. They're spending less than 10%. GM chrome adoption, resistance to GM technology limits opportunities. So government need to run dissemination programs for farmers and other, that genetically modified seeds is the need of the hour. World is adopting. So whatever resistance is there, we need to talk it out. We need to have conversations, meetings, so that people can understand. Because for self-sufficiency in oil production, pest-resistant crop development, GM crops will be needed. Okay, so National Seed Congress, the 13th National Seed Congress, rather 13th National Seed Congress, where it happened? It happened at Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. Okay, underscored the need for cohesive strategy. A cohesive strategy is needed for improving seed quality, enhance productivity, food security, and about fallow land also, the atlas was taken, ensure sustainability in Indian agriculture. A unified license framework, again very important, so that the private companies are not engaged in, multiple licenses, but their focus should be on better technology and better seeds which can be provided to the farmer, which is his lifeline. A wonderful statement which has come, and address the emerging challenges in farming. So let's come to MCQ. The Rice Fallow Web Page Atlas aims to map and analyze fallow lands in India using geospatial technology. Congress called for speedy implementation of genetically, not speedy implementation. It is right now talking about that we need to, accept or start something working. CD implementation is very far away. Private sector emphasized the need for one nation, one license. Of 1 and 3 statements are correct. So answer would be A. Okay, so its statement 1 is correct. The Congress emphasized policy clarity on GM crops. Speedy implementation is very far away. So first we need to accept it, and people accept, then you start doing speedy. That might be third stage. Okay, for now. Third is also right. Now go to, before I move forward, every day I tell you, again I reiterate, there's a scholarship test which is happening at the topmost institute, Insights IAS for Civil Services. It's a scholarship test for OGP 2026. The test will happen on 1st December 2024. It's a MCQ format based test. It would be 100 questions there with negative marking, MCQ based, and the time would be, on offline time would be 11 to 1 p.m. 11 to 1 p.m. and online would be 11 a.m. to 12 noon. So this would be the time, and if you scan this code, you will get all the details, and if you come in 1st to 5th rank, you will get 100% scholarships. 6 to 100 rank, you will get 20% scholarship, and 100 to 200 rank, 15% scholarship. So up to 100% scholarships are available. Please study, please give this examination. It will definitely help, and kindly register on through this QR scan code, and rest the link would also be given in the description. And PDF, if not uploaded right now, it will uploaded be in some hours. Of every day it is uploaded. Second important thing is that from 2nd December 2024 on online mode and offline at Bangalore Center, anthropology optional is being started by Dr. Arjun Bopanna Sir. He is a faculty for anthropology, a topmost faculty. For all details, you can scan this QR code. You will get all details. You can also call on this number 80694052005. And this is the current price of the course with a discount, 10% discount available till end of November. Plus, there would be 100 classes of 2.5 hours each, systematic and comprehensive coverage of anthropology, questions, everything which comes in the mains regarding the anthropology would be covered. Rest details you can call on this number or scan the QR code. Now going for the next important news, that is why Netanyahu accepted a ceasefire with Hezbollah. We had covered this news, now we will get into a bit detail. Why did he agree to do this? Okay. So Parikshit has asked, sir, how will be the fishermen able to identify the margin line of nocturnal 200 kilometers? Yes, it's a very good question. BBNJ treaty, we had covered, I think, 1 or 2 days back. Okay, when we were talking about marine biodiversity. I forget about Parikshit, how fishermen will do. First, countries need to identify that. Obviously from mapping point, it is very easy. From, if you see satellite point of view, it is very easy. But to create that on oceans, on sea, on high seas, it would be difficult. I think certain measures, they probably can put some kind of flags or certain GPS or certain kind of instruments can be given to fishermen so that they can identify. But again, that fishermen you are talking about, they also need to have the understanding. So dissemination of information needs to be done. But this is all if, if the treaty is implemented in the spirit and everything. Right now, treaty is far away because 60 countries need to ratify it. Okay, then only it will come in implementation. I mean to say the agreement you're talking about, and ratification from 60 countries is far. Right now, I think 10 or 12 have done, 10 or 11 when we had covered. So I think we can wait Parikshit right now before it comes. But good question anyway. Okay, and I feel before the fishermen, countries heads need to work out how they will do it. So let's go to this news then. So this is making sense of Israel-Hezbollah ceasefire. The ceasefire has happened between Israel and Hezbollah. The countries which helped, in achieving this was Americans, and the France was able to do it. It's a 2-month ceasefire, and basically the concept is that the Hezbollah would be withdrawing from the southern Lebanon and it will go top of the Litani rivers. There's a Litani river. So they will go to the northern river, top of the Litani river, and from the south of the Litani river towards the Israel and Lebanon border, it would be Lebanese army and the United Nations forces. So that would be the buffer zone where Hezbollah cannot enter. And the Israeli forces which had entered the Lebanon, they will also withdraw back and they will also come down. But Israel has also categorically said that if Hezbollah does any misadventure or does the ceasefire violation, or get more arms and start doing the same activities which it had done in the past, Israel will have the right to revert back. So this is what has happened, and we had covered this. So I'll just show you. This is again on the map. If you see, this is your Litani river. This is your Litani river. This is your Lebanon. This is Lebanon. Okay. So this blue line which you see, this is the boundary between Israel and Lebanon. Now what is Hezbollah? Hezbollah used to be here. Okay, so from here they used to attack. From here they used to attack with their rockets. Now as per this treaty, this Hezbollah will go back on the top of Lebanon, on the northern Lebanon. It will move on this side. It will go on this side. And this particular area, this entire particular area, here you will get Lebanese army and United Nation forces, what we call UNIFIL. Okay, that interim force. Okay, United Nation with all country forces coming. So UNIFIL and Lebanese army would be there, and this area will basically become a buffer zone between Hamas and between Israel. And Israel forces will also come down here, and all this northern Israel where Israelis used to stay and this area where Lebanese used to stay, they will slowly and steadily come and they will start staying there. So this is the basic treaty which has happened. Okay. So this I had covered with you. So same thing what I have just told you is written on the slide. You can go through this also. Rest, Netanyahu, ceasefire, strategic movie. So his basic goal is countering Iran and resupplying Israeli forces. So what are the 3 major goals? Why he agreed to that? Let's come to that. Rest I have just explained to you what is happening. And the timeline is around 2 months. Okay, 60 days. Israel reserves the right to resume fighting if Hezbollah does any misadventure. Okay, Litani river, again this important river, this mapping wise Litani river location becomes very important now. Litani river, 2 important location for today's lecture. Litani river, and second is Busan. What is happening in Busan? That 5th round of meeting is happening for global plastic treaty. Okay, so Busan we have covered, which was the first news, and this second is Litani river. Where is Litani river? Litani river is in Lebanon. So L for Litani, L for Lebanon. Okay, now coming to this, so these are the 3 important goals which Netanyahu wants to achieve, and because of these 3 important goals, basically he agreed for ceasefire. First is focusing on Iran. Now what was happening was that Iran, Iran's both hands were tied. One was Hamas and one was Hezbollah. And in Hezbollah, the army had gone. So army also needed to, replenish itself. Okay, so replenish itself, and also the fatigue was also coming into the Israeli army because they have been continuously fighting for more than a year. So the fatigue was also coming in the Israeli army, since now Israeli forces would be withdrawing back from Hezbollah. Now the entire focus would be on Hamas and Iran. And as I have discussed yesterday, that be it Houthis, be it Hamas, be it Hezbollah, All this come under one organization called Axis of Resistance. So these are basically Shia militant groups. These are like puppet non-state actors which work on the orders of Iran. And Iran gives them money, Iran gives them capital, Iran gives them food, logistics, weapons, whatever these groups need, and they do the dirty work of Iran, whatever Iran wants to do them, from terror attacks to assassination to various things. Now since Hezbollah, the hand of Iran is now free, now this hand can be used, or this particular structure can now be used on focusing on Iran. And as per as what the talks which has happened between Netanyahu and Donald Trump, once he takes the seat in January 2025, a lot of focus would be shifting towards Iran. That is something geopolitically we would be saying. So focusing on Iran, resupplying troops, fatigue, and third, isolating Hamas. Now since the Hezbollah would be free, again the focus would be on Hamas, strategically reducing distraction from ongoing war in Gaza. So these three would be the focus, and these are the three reasons which Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, he gave this in press conference. He spoke about in press conference. So these are the three reasons which are being given by him. But there are certain other reasons also which I would like to cover, which is that success against Hezbollah was achieved. You know, they have been able to kill the Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, the second in command, and the Qasim, Qasim, I think, yes, the Qasim, which is the new Naim Qasim, the new head of Hezbollah. Now he is sitting in Iran. Dahiya neighborhood in Beirut and southern Lebanon also faced massive bombings, which was supporter of Hezbollah, forced Hezbollah to decouple the Lebanese-Gaza nexus. So how Hezbollah and Hamas used to work, they have been able to break. Now they are going backward of the northern side of the Litani River. This nexus which was there, it will be broken even more. But there were certain shortcomings of Israeli operations also, which we need to understand, and that is also one of the major reasons with Netanyahu agreeing for the ceasefire. Obviously, he will not talk about his shortcomings. Okay. So one was failure to destroy Hezbollah's rocket capabilities. Even after killing Hassan Nasrallah and all others, the rocket capabilities are still there. Even before, 1 hour before the ceasefire violation, Hezbollah was continuously fighting rockets, and their leaders might have been killed, but Hezbollah is still one of the more popular militant groups and even politically in Lebanon. High security breaches like the Prime Minister residence were targeted through a drone. Heavy casualties with 35 soldiers killed in southern Lebanon, and the amount of progress Israeli forces expected in their land movement, on their land marches in Lebanon, it was not successful. For example, if the parameter out of 10 was 10 out of 10 should be the achievement, they were somewhere around 5 only in the infantry movement and achievement in Lebanon. So it was a limited territorial gains despite extensive ground operation. And when you do ground operation, number of casualty of your forces can be high. And if the casualty of your forces increases, that would very much demotivating, and whatever Israel has been able to achieve, that will get negated. So these were also some of the reasons which forced Netanyahu for ceasefire, plus the pressure which was coming from the President Joe Biden that, we need to go for ceasefire because the focus is Iran and Hamas, because Hamas still has hostages. Hezbollah, the major targeting points, more or less, Israel has been able to achieve except the territorial gains. And United Resolution 1701. Now this is also very important from prelims point of perspective. 1701. So this is a ceasefire rooted in 2006 resolution. Now Israel also need to agree to this resolution. And what is this resolution? Complete withdrawal of Israel troops from Lebanon. So Lebanon, they had entered around 2006, then this 1701 came. Now they were in Lebanon, so they have to come out. Disarmament of Hezbollah. Now Hezbollah has been shifted. Now they have to go to the north of the Litani River in Lebanon. Deployment of Lebanese army and the UNIFIL forces, the interim forces. UNIFIL forces we have covered a lot of time in Decodes. Past failures to implement these provisions have allowed Hezbollah to become stronger. So Israel was also being pushed that, we need to implement the 1701 UN resolution. It is important. The pressure from Joe Biden, internal problems of the Israeli army, plus majority of the things Israel was able to achieve. And now the focus should be on Hamas and Iran, and that is why one front has to be stopped. Okay, so in conclusion, ceasefire offers a temporary pause. Rest, it will depend how things will happen in the coming 2 months. And specifically, if you see 2 months, this is around January. This is more or less January. It will end, and by that time, Donald Trump will take the presidency. Once Donald Trump take the presidency, and how Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump will play the game, time will tell us. Rest we have covered. The strategic shift is towards Iran and Gaza, reflects Iran's broader points rather than just focusing on Hezbollah. So Israel-Hezbollah ceasefire highlights the challenges of conflict resolution in a deeply polarized region. Discuss important question, very important. Please do write. Lot of information given in the lecture also. Let's come to today's editorial. So a lot of detailed news. Again, what is happening in Bangladesh, it's a terrible state of affairs which is happening in Bangladesh, and it started with the exodus of the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina living, and she is the Prime Minister. She never did officially resign, so she still currently is the former prime, not the the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. Even if you see how she congratulated Donald Trump, she wrote Prime Minister of Bangladesh. Okay, though the conditions are very different. So arrest of Hindu monk Chinmoy Das, how minorities are being targeted and minority Hindu communities are being butchered, and how the majority government, they are clashing with the Hindu communities, and they are breaking the temples. Situation in Bangladesh is going from bad to worse, and eventually if they don't control it, it will become evil. If you see what has happened in October and November, multiple protests are happening on the death of a medical student, and then on Chinmoy Das, who is the Hindu monk. Basically is the head of ISKCON temple in Bangladesh. Now there are talks also of banning ISKCON as an organization. ISKCON is an international organization, and if Bangladesh bans this organization, then when they talk about minority rights, there would be no minority rights in Bangladesh. So when they were talking, there's a revolution which has happened in Bangladesh, minority will get rights, majority will get rights, everyone will come together. See what kind of chaos Bangladesh is in. Their economy has tanked, there is no election happening. It is going through one of the worst phases right now, what Bangladesh can see. Violent protest, heavy-handed government action, increasing attacks on minorities reveal the growing influence of majoritarian forces and lack of safeguards of the country. This is the current reality of Bangladesh, and Bangladesh needs to work very hard. And the kind of, when Indian External Affairs Ministry basically came up with that these are the problems you are having, their answer is in a very simple terms that don't interfere with us, we can take care of it. Please understand, for your electricity you are dependent upon us. You have to pay more than $1 million, somewhere around close to billion, for electricity to us. So economically there are no jobs, there is no electricity. Just see the condition, and majority is butchering the minority. So this is the current revolution which is happening in Bangladesh, and now they are trying to revive their friendship with Pakistan also. See again, so what is happening in Bangladesh? Pakistan also, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf revolt is going, or protest was going on. They were beaten like anything. So Bushra Bibi and his supporters, Bushra Bibi is wife of Imran Khan, they have disappeared. Quetta attack is happening. Balochistanis are butchering the Pakistani army. So similar kind of situation Pakistan is happening, similar has started in Bangladesh, and now they want to become friends. I think it says that in universe similar things attract each other. So chaos will attract chaos. So I think that is exactly what is happening under Muhammad Yunus and under Shehbaz Sharif in Pakistan. They are attracting each other. Okay. And they don't understand this is the same Pakistan country and Pakistani army which did Operation Searchlight in Bangladesh, and they had Bangladeshis. Currently Bangladesh have forgotten about who is the father of Bangladesh. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and his statue and everything is broken. So a lot of problems is currently happening in Bangladesh. Less I say is more it is. So violent protest and clashes. So protest erupted by Chinmoy Das arrest, and the arrest is that, so there was a Bangladesh flag over him, over it a saffron flag was kept, and he apologized for it also. And on this charges, the High Court says this is such a big charge, that the bail can't be given, and now they're talking about banning the ISKCON as an organization only. So see the state of affairs which Bangladesh has gone through. Okay. And again, the protests were led by Bangladesh, Somilito Sanatani Jagran, representing Sanatani Hindus. The Hindus in Bangladesh are minorities, including Hindus, Christians, and Buddhists. Document violence include over 2,000 attacks with at least 9 deaths, with many communal undertones which is happening. And India can talk to Bangladesh. I am sure that they are talking diplomatically, but solution needs to come because current situation is in dire straits in Bangladesh. Okay, Chinmoy Das and his group outlined 8 points, and what they were asking, speedy trials, what they were asking, Durga Puja holidays, what they were asking, Hindu minority rights, say standard things which anyone can ask, speedy trial for cases of minority persecution. Muhammad Yunus says that Hindus are being targeted because this is not a religious agenda, rather this is a political agenda because they used to support Sheikh Hasina. Even if they were supporting Sheikh Hasina, how can you kill them or persecute them? This is not a statement which can be given by the current head or whatever kind of head Muhammad Yunus is. He had promised that he will change Bangladesh, prosperity will come, neither prosperity is coming, neither economy is coming, only destruction is happening. So again, because these were his demands, and because of his demands and everything, right now Chinmoy Das is in jail. So interim government led by Muhammad Yunus has not addressed demands directly. Authorities have cracked down, and if you see when the Muslim protest is happening, the crackdown is not there. Hindu protest happened, the crackdown is happening. This is not what I am saying. Just go through the videos, you will see they were beaten like anything. Okay, so minorities does not have any right in Bangladesh. A move to ban ISKCON would further fuel the things between India and Bangladesh, and whatever image of Bangladesh remains, that would also be questioned, because if you're talking about minority rights and if you ban this international organization, sorry to say this, then your situation is exactly not good. So heavy-handed crackdown is going on. Government of empowering security forces to suppress every peaceful protest. It was a peaceful protest, but continuously protest is happening. So if Bangladesh wanted to remove Sheikh Hasina, which they did, and they said the economics would become better, more job opportunities, the garment factories in Bangladesh are closed. Hardly people are going back to jobs. So, and those government orders which used to come from Zara, Marks and Spencer, these big companies, ready-made garments which used to come from Bangladesh, now these orders are being shifted to India. So they are losing on economy also and on other things also. So India has consistently urged Bangladesh to protect its minorities, avoid targeting revered figures like Chinmoy Das. Tense relations are between India and Bangladesh. Bangladesh is not listening. It is basically my way or highway, and the relations between India and Bangladesh currently are not good. I think stronger statements and more communication with Bangladesh will help. But obviously, if after 6 or 8 months, when their economy, whatever their economy is, it breaks, eventually it will also take a U-turn, which Mohammad Mursi and his Maldives took. But at least that, the situation which was in Maldives, it was not intense what is happening in Bangladesh, because religious connotation is very high in the country. So in conclusion, heavy-handed response to minority protest underlines the precarious and the religious freedom in Bangladesh. Much needs to be done from the government on both the sides, specifically from the Bangladesh government side, to reduce this. A balanced approach is necessary to restore trust among minorities and growing threat of majoritarian or the killings of the minority Hindu community by the other community. Otherwise, things will go from bad to worse. So this is the question for mains which you can go. Treatment of minorities in Bangladesh reflects broader challenges of religious freedom and governance in South Asia. Discuss with reference to recent development in Bangladesh. Very important question which you need to answer. You can use the PDF and the lecture to answer it. In extra mile, please go through Dhanush Nayantara dispute. Most importantly, the part in this is what is copyright law. That will help you if any question comes. Please understand that. And scholarship test is there on 1st December. Register QR code, and you can also follow Sapna ma'am for ICANN series for your mains answer writing. So with this, we wrap up today's lecture. There were a lot of detailed news from Netanyahu to Bangladesh to the Busan, which is related to global plastic treaty. We have covered in detail, and I hope you enjoyed the lecture. Please do like, share, and most importantly, press the bell icon and put your wonderful comments. How are you finding the lectures? And we will definitely come with important shots. And here your Sanjay sir signing off. Sayonara, tata, bye bye.